Redux developers already understand Elm architecture because Elm inspired Redux. In this video, I'll show you 7 different ways in which Redux draws inspiration from Elm. Along the way, we'll also take a look at how Redux measures up to Elm in each category. In the end, you will understand why Elm is a natural choice for next-gen web development language for your developers. Before we get any further, be sure to click the link in the description to subscribe to my mailing list. Subscribers will get timely notifications of my videos and access to my personal email. Number 1, Unidirectional Flow. So in Elm, the only way to make updates to your application and to your view is through the model. You make a change to the model, it gets propagated to your view. Your view allows for updates through user interactions or through subscriptions as well. But either way, your update function handles that, and that updates the model, which then gets cycled into the view. So there's only one way for changes to be propagated or for state to be propagated through your application. In Redux, we adopt this as a convention. We have the state. We have our component, our React component, which is connected to parts of the store and are injected through properties. And then in our view, where we can dispatch commands and so on, which go through the reducers, and the reducers update parts of the state. And that's the same kind of unidirectional flow that we see in Elm. Now, the difference with Elm and Redux is that in Elm, this is the only way to update the state of your application. And in Redux, it's totally possible, or in React or Angular, it's totally possible to update or to maintain state outside of the Redux store. For example, you can parse the URL and without running that through the store to receive updates or to change the state of your application. In Elm, URL changes are built right into the model. So in order to take an action on a URL change, you have to do that within your update function. All right, number 2. Redux is similar to Elm in that it has a centralized state. So in Elm, we have our immutable central model. And in Redux, we have our state. Both are initialized on app start. The difference being is that because it's a feature of the language of Elm's pure functional language, that everything is immutable by default. So there's no way to mutate the model. However, in Redux, it is totally possible that there's a mutable store. And unless you bring in libraries to support immutability, other JavaScript or NPM libraries, your store is mutable. Number 3, state updates. So in Elm, we have our message and our model. In Redux, we have our action and our state. Same concept. So in Elm, the message, the update function takes the message in the model, and depending on the message contents, we update the model in a very specific way, or we return a new model in a very specific way. Same with our reducer. We take in some state and some action, and depending on what the action is, in this case increment, we return a new state object. All right, number 4, I believe, messages and actions. So in Elm, our messages are typed unions, and in Redux, our actions are just plain objects. So action.type in this case is increment, and you can see that in the Elm code we have it's a feature of the language to have A, type safety in our message, and B, exhaustive checking on those types. So you can see that in the update method, we're forced to, due to exhaustive type checking, we're forced to code for all scenarios, or at least acknowledge all scenarios. But we can see in our Redux counterpart that you could simply stop at the increment case. There's nothing in the compiler or even if you're using TypeScript, to force coding for the decrement case. So that's the benefit of having a typed language like a strongly typed language like Elm. Okay, number 5. So Redux adopts the functional purity as a convention. It's not enforced. So, for example, I have in this case, we know what we should be doing. We know we should be returning a new state object, but in this particular case, because of the developer who has written this maybe doesn't really understand the paradigm completely, we've actually mutated the state in our reducer. And if you've worked with, I'll speak to React, I guess, because I've worked with this in React. If you mutate the store in Redux, due to the shallow comparison of how React detects new properties, if you mutate the store, that does not get detected due to shallow comparison. Basically, the new properties are not detected in your React application. It's very, very probable and very possible that if you mutate the store, you could end up with a state change that doesn't make it to the view. So that's why we say Redux adopts functional purity as a convention. It's not enforced though. With Elm, as in the previous example, it's a pure functional language. So it's not possible to mutate the model. You have to output a new model at the end of each update invocation. Okay, number 6. So Redux adopts actions, and often they're adopted as constants. But as we saw in one of the previous examples, in Elm, the messages are type unions. And so there's type safety in Elm. And that plays into things like exhaustive type checking, making sure every scenario is coded for. But in Redux, there's nothing stopping a developer from not using a constant and just doing a string comparison, right? So that's another problem, is that you could have this particular case misspelled, and then your reducer is got a bug, right? Instead of increment, maybe you're missing a vowel or something. There's nothing preventing you from coding it this way. It's merely a convention that actions are constants. But in Elm, actions or messages are not strings. They are type unions. So you have to code for them due to exhaustive type checking. And then lastly, Redux is an add-on. It's a good add-on. It's definitely an improvement. But in Elm, the model view update is core to the T architecture of Elm. And so it's built right in. You've got tight integration right into the language, whereas Redux, it's an add-on. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to click the link in the description to subscribe to my mailing list. And as always, you will get notifications about my recent videos and access to my personal email. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and follow me on the journey. Bye now.